I know that people are going to judge me after they would have listened to my story. But to whoever is going to be listening to my story, I beg you not to judge me harshly, because what happened to me can also happen to you. I am a good person. I do pray. Well, I used to pray back in those days, but now I have since stopped praying. I do go to church with my wife, because if I do not go to church, my wife, she would kill me, because she is that type of a Christian who always wants to be at church each and every Sunday. So I did all of these things that I did not because I wanted to, but it was because of a crazy situation that I had found myself involved in. And even though I did not want to, it was a matter of life and death. I was supposed to do it. Otherwise, I was the one that was going to die. Please call me anonymous. I am a man that is aged 34 years old. When I think about the kind of a life that I am living right now, when I look at my wife, my kids, they are enjoying life, but they don't know that daddy is going through a lot. Sometimes when my wife is sleeping, I can go and I can sit outside and I'll start to cry, because I do not want her to know what is going through in my mind. Brother Nashi, I come from Maswingo. I grew up with nothing. And the only hope that we had was when my brother came to South Africa. He was assisted by the church which we used to go to for him to come to South Africa. My brother, when he came here, he saw South African women and he never bothered to return back home. To this very day, I have been searching for my brother. We heard that he had moved to Cape Town with a woman. I don't know if he is still alive or if he passed away. He just came and he never returned back to Zim. Even the people that assisted him, because in the village they had to raise some money for our brother to come to South Africa, and my father ended up selling some of the things that he owned in order for him to repay the debt for the money that was used to pay the Malaichas for my brother to be brought to South Africa. If my brother had remembered where he came from and had forgotten about South African women, maybe I could have never been in this situation, because I could have came to South Africa, work with my brother, and life was supposed to be normal. I remember the day when my father passed away. He kept on calling out the name of his son, my brother, that he wished that he had came to Zim so that he can see him. My father died before his time. It was due to lack of medication. If it was in another country, my father could have been alive to this very day. Looking at the poverty after my father had passed away, I ran away from home, because my mother, she did not want me to come to South Africa. There were other young men that were also coming to South Africa to work, and I joined up with them. I was only 18 years old when I crossed the border, and I was a border jumper with no papers, no plan. I found work at a farm that was outside of Polokwane, where I started working. The man that I was working for, he was a white man. He ended up selling the farm to an Indian family, but they were from Joburg. They would fetch me, go with me to Joburg. Sometimes I would work at their house. Sometimes they would leave me at that farm. These people, I later found out that they were involved in a dirty business. They would store electronics, perfumes that they did not have papers for. And I was almost like their security guard. I was happy, Brother Nashim, a boy from Zim, who was happy to eat 3 times a day, to have a nice meal and a little bit of money, even though it was not a lot, because back in those days I was being paid 900 rands. Me and 3 other guys, we were the ones that were staying at that farm, no one else. So later on, when we started to realize what was going on, that these people, some of the items that they were keeping at their farm, they were not supposed to be doing that. When they realized that the law was closing in, that was when they committed like an insurance scam, and they set fire to one of their own warehouse, and they fled back to India. And after they had fled to India, we were left guarding the property. I was the last one staying at that farm because I did not have anywhere to go to. And these people, they just left without paying us any single cent. One day, Brother Nashim, when I was walking around the property, I then found a leather bag that was hidden in the ceiling in one of the servant quarters that they always told us to never open that room. I opened it up and I saw that it was packed with cash, a lot of money, thousands and thousands of rands. And this was the money that they had hidden in the ceiling. I did not even tell anyone. I took that money and I bought a car. I bought my first Nissan hard body from another man who was a Zimbabwean. He was a Malaicha. I knew him because he used to come to that farm and he would collect some of the groceries that we would have bought, and we would send them back to Zim. He had once told me to speak with some other guys that were working at a farm that was close to the farm where I was working. Those people, they were earning a little bit of money, and most of them at the end of the year, with their bonuses, they would look for some old cars. I called him and I told him that there was someone that was looking for a car. He came and he gave me the car. I was going to be a Malaysia. I stopped staying at that farm and I moved to the nearby village because I had other Zim friends that were staying in that village. I did not even have a license, but I knew how to drive because there were days when we used to go and work in another farm where I was trained to drive a tractor. I knew how to drive a tractor, including a car, but I just did not have any license at all. I then looked for an assistant driver. When I looked for this assistant driver, he was the one that would be driving the car whilst I was handling the other part of the business. So being a Malaicham, all that you do is that you go to different farms where there are a lot of Zim people are staying. Then you speak with them, you hear where they come from, and if you can negotiate a price at the end of the month or after 2 months, you can come collect the groceries and you go home with those groceries, they pay you. It was good money for someone that was still very young. So as my business was growing, Brother Nashi, instead of me focusing on the part where I would carry building material, carrying groceries from Joburg, Polokwane, Venda to Harare or to other villages, I wanted more and more money. I got involved in another part of the Malaysia business that most of the people do not want to get involved in: human smuggling people into South Africa, those that do not have passport. It is very dangerous because the part where you have to smuggle someone without a passport, you have to go through Limpopo, and Limpopo is a big river. You might see it with less water, but if rains have been raining for days, the river will get so deep and big, so much that a lot of people have died in Limpopo. I estimate that maybe there might have been 1,000 people that have died crossing the Limpopo coming to South Africa. I had a group of 10 women that I had brought with from Harare. These women, they were supposed to go to Joburg. Some of them I was supposed to drop them along the way, but the majority of the women, they were supposed to go to Joburg. So as we were walking, this is what we used to do. I would arrive in Beitbridge, then I would collect some local vendor guys, and they knew the forest. Since they are born there in Beitbridge, they know everything. So they take us to the Limpopo River, and when we are crossing, we do not use like a inflated boat or anything. You hold hands. The one that is in front holds the hand of the person that is behind them until the last person. When you walk like that, no one is going to be swept away. You will support each other. But this trip, I was with women, and you know, women, they get scared so much. One woman, I still remember, she started screaming and saying that she can't do it anymore. We were in the middle of the river. That was when I tried to hold her properly because the water was moving a little bit fast. The moment that I released her a little bit so that I can hold her properly. That was when she slipped away. Brother, it happened so fast. A hand left mine, and the river just swallowed her. All that we said was, she's gone. I did not jump in, I did not scream. We just stood there and we watched her head disappear under the river. Limpopo does not have clear water, it is muddy. You can't see anything. We walked and then we reached on the other side. We were in South Africa. We sat down. You know, when you are in that situation, you don't even talk about it. I looked at the other women and I said, let us continue with our journey. I had the bag. Inside there was money. The money, Brother Nashi, that was in there, to tell you the truth. The next day, because you walk throughout the night to come to Messina in the bushes, when I met my driver, we had passed through the border in the morning in Messina. The money that was inside the bag of that woman, I used it to buy new tires. These were rear tires that had gone bad, so I did not want the police to bother me along the way. We waited until it was in the evening and we started traveling. That was the day I can say I stopped being a human being. I was now a real Malaysia, not a fly by night, because as you start doing Malaysia business, you end up not even being afraid to kill someone because the business, it is too rough. And then I started to see this woman. I was driving, going back to Zim. That was when I saw a woman that was standing in front of me in the road. Then she just disappeared. I asked my assistant driver if he had seen the thing that I had seen, but he said, no, maybe you are too tired, because in those years I was not yet experienced to drive straight from Joburg all the way to Harare, just resting here and there. He said that maybe it was fatigue, since I was not yet used to be driving for long and long distances. Brother Nashi, by 2014, I was no longer driving a bakkie. I had managed to save money. I had bought a quantum taxi and a big trailer. And it was in December, you know, when the time when every Zimbabwean in South Africa is trying to get home for Christmas. And I was supposed to quickly go to Zim, go back and come back so that I can make as much money as I can. I was overloaded. The trailer was packed with anything that you can think of. As we were approaching Rutenga, the road was bad. It had been raining. I had not even serviced the trailer because my rule was we service as we are moving. By then, I had another assistant driver who was good at welding. He was a mechanic. And I thought that because he was a mechanic, there was no need to take the car or the trailer for proper service before a long distance trip. We'll just see that everything is okay, and then we just go on the road. The torsion bar snapped and I was traveling at almost 100 kilometers an hour. The trailer overturned, flipping the taxi. Brother, that taxi, you could not repair it after that. There was one woman who died instantly. Her head was crushed by a fridge. And it was so terrible. For this fridge that crushed her, it was a fridge that she had bought in South Africa the whole year. She had been buying a fridge. She used to work as a maid. I survived. Even though I survived, I knew that there was something that was wrong with me because I had been experiencing a lot of bad luck. I knew this because the way that I used to make money, it was different from the way that I was now making money. If I would touch a car, it will start to have a lot of problems. If I would sell it, that person will use it, will do so many trips, going to Zim, coming back. I was losing money fast. In 2015, that was when I went to Highfield back in Harare to see a Nganga, a Sangoma, someone whom I had heard he had been assisting other people that were in the same business that I was in. He looked at me and he said that I had Ngozi spirit. Ngozi spirit is the spirit of a person that has died and probably you are the one that killed that person. And this man, he said, This woman, she wants you to go to the family members so that you can apologize and you can pay them something, because she is saying that you stole from her after you knew that she had died, and you need to go, otherwise she is going to make you a beggar until you die, unless if I give you a sandawana. Brother, I was a coward. I told him that I would do anything. He made some rituals that required that I sacrifice someone from my own bloodline so that I can be able to get this sandawana. He said that in order for you to get this sandawana, you are supposed to have your mother killed. My mom, she passed away in the year 2016. She was still very young, only about 55 when she passed away. And from there on, life became normal. When I returned back to South Africa, I stopped doing Malaysia business and I started a construction business. Within a couple of months, I was working with white people. One man told me that he wanted to give me a subcontract, and I started working and I started making a lot of money. I moved into a beautiful house. The only thing that I did not have were South African papers. That was when a lot of women, when you are wealthy, women will always chase after you. Women were following me everywhere. From the women that were in my life, I chose my wife, who is South African, that I am married to right now, because she is beautiful. She is not a gold digger. She told me that she does not care about my money. She wants me, and she proved it to me. We have 3 kids. We are legally married. And brother, because I now have papers, I managed to start another company with my wife. We can renovate even government buildings. I just don't win government tenders. I also win private tenders for big malls, big supermarkets. So this Sandawana, it wants me to sacrifice my wife, because it is saying that it is tired of the blood that I gave it to, which belonged to my mother. Now it wants the blood of my wife. I don't even know what to do. There are people that come to me to ask for advice on how I got rich. Should I sacrifice my wife? I know that if this Sandawana wants my wife today, it is going to take the life of my wife. I need advice. I do go to church. The church that I go to, it is because of my wife. Should I go to the pastor and confess everything, all the things that has happened in my life, like I have told you? This Sandawana, it speaks to me directly and it tells me all the things that it wants me to do. I am supposed to sacrifice my wife in the next 3 years. Otherwise, I'm going to go broke. And this spirit of that woman will find me, will start to haunt me again. I need advice. Please do not judge me for the things that happened to me. They did not happen because I wanted them to happen to me, but I was just a victim of the situation. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Let us try to speak with our dear brother in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Apologies for the background noise. It is raining quite a lot.